The Galactic Central Administration prided itself on efficiency, though most knew it was just a self-congratulatory illusion. For centuries, planetary classifications remained unchanged, stamped into records by bureaucrats who cared more about lunch breaks than accuracy. Earth, a minor, unremarkable world on the outer edges of known space, had been classified as a Class 3 garden world, habitable, relatively safe, and home to a species of middling technological development. Then the audit happened. It was supposed to be a simple update, a routine check triggered by the introduction of the new AI-driven planetary assessment system. The goal was to improve galactic safety, ensuring that potential threats were properly documented. When the system processed Earth's data, a red flag appeared. The assigned bureaucrat, a low-level functionary named Zilvarn, barely glanced at it. He had a backlog of reports to review and a strict policy of skim, approve, move on. But then the system refused to proceed, locking him out until he acknowledged the result. He frowned. Reclassification, Class 15 Deathworld. Confirm? That had to be an error. The highest classification ever recorded was a Class 12 world, a molten rock teeming with acid storms and gravity strong enough to crush most lifeforms into paste. Earth was populated. Civilized. Curious, he dug deeper. And the deeper he went, the colder his blood ran. Earth wasn't just dangerous. It was a statistical impossibility of survival. Its wildlife? Predatory beyond reason. A vast network of apex hunters, capable of tracking, ambushing, and adapting to their prey with terrifying efficiency. Even the smaller creatures, spiders, snakes, microscopic bacteria, were lethal bioweapons in their own right. Its climate? Unstable, extreme, and violent. In any given year, Earth experienced hurricanes large enough to rip apart entire coastlines, blizzards capable of freezing exposed flesh in seconds, volcanic eruptions that spewed enough toxic gases to choke entire ecosystems. And yet, somehow, the native species not only survived but thrived. Humans. They weren't supposed to be here. They shouldn't exist. Evolution should have crushed them under the weight of their own environment. Instead, they had risen to the top. Zilvarn saw the reports. Humans could endure injuries that would kill other species outright. They could function with broken bones, recover from catastrophic wounds, and even mentally adapt to constant environmental horrors without breaking. Worse, their civilization hadn't merely conquered Earth. It had weaponized it. They built cities in disaster zones, daring nature to challenge them. They domesticated creatures that would have been classified as galactic threats anywhere else. They engineered ways to survive every biological and environmental nightmare thrown at them. And that was before he even reached their psychological assessment. The system had flagged an anomaly in human behavior, something that set them apart from every other intelligent species in recorded history. Humans didn't just survive hardship. They enjoyed it. They sought out danger for entertainment. They climbed mountains with no oxygen, jumped out of aircraft for fun, and voluntarily subjected themselves to environments that would be considered death sentences for any other species. This wasn't a mistake. Earth was, by every measurable standard, a Class 15 death world. Zilvarn's hands trembled as he confirmed the classification. The moment he did, an automatic alert was sent to the Galactic Senate. Within minutes, an emergency session was called. Panic spread like wildfire. Galactic law was clear. Any civilization originating from a death world ranked Class 10 or higher must be contained, feared, or outright exterminated for the safety of all. And this wasn't just any death world. It was the worst one ever recorded. The news raced across every major empire, every colony, every war council. Scientists scrambled to verify the data. Analysts rechecked historical records. How had they missed this? How had they failed to notice the sheer existential threat that humanity posed? Diplomatic envoys debated containment strategies. Some pushed for immediate quarantine, demanding that human expansion be halted immediately. Others, more paranoid, whispered the unthinkable, preemptive extermination. Meanwhile, Outside the Senate chambers, a whispered fear spread among the lesser races. If humans had survived this long on a death world that should have killed them, what else were they capable of? The question wouldn't take long to be answered. The emergency broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy within hours. From the core worlds of the High Senate to the lawless fringes of uncharted space, one undeniable truth sent civilizations into a collective panic. Earth was no longer just an anomaly. It was a threat. Military strategists convened in war rooms, analyzing humanity's history with newfound horror. This was a species that had never known peace. Every recorded era of their existence was drenched in war, conflict, and conquest. Unlike other intelligent species, who had reached enlightenment through cooperation, humans had forged their unity through bloodshed. They had mastered weapons before they had mastered flight. They had built empires that crumbled under their own ambition, only to rise again, stronger, more ruthless, more determined. They had split the atom, not to power their world, but to create a weapon so devastating that it forced them to reconsider annihilation as an inevitability. The realization was sobering. Containment was no longer an option. Humanity was already among them. They had colonies, alliances, trade deals. They had integrated into the galactic economy. They had learned the weaknesses of alien governments, studied their laws, and exploited their loopholes with terrifying precision. The proposal for extermination gained traction. Some species saw it as the only logical course of action. *** removed the problem before it became unstoppable. ***, but the Galactic Coalition had never faced an enemy like this before. Humanity wasn't a mindless swarm to be burned away, nor a singular empire to be dismantled. It was a network of independent factions, each with its own power, resources, and most horrifying of all, willpower. A war against Earth wasn't just a war against a single world. It was a war against a species that had mastered the art of survival against impossible odds. And they would not go quietly. The first attempt at preemptive action came within days. A joint strike force of highly advanced fleets, chosen from multiple species, was dispatched to Earth's orbit under the pretense of an emergency diplomatic intervention. Officially, it was a precaution. In reality, it was a show of force, a warning. The response was immediate. Humanity did not react with fear, nor did they send envoys pleading for mercy. They locked on to every approaching vessel with targeting systems so precise, so overwhelmingly aggressive, that the invaders hesitated. Then, without firing a single shot, Earth's leaders made their stance clear. A transmission was broadcast to the entire fleet. A simple message. If you fire the first shot, we will fire the last. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement of fact. The fleets withdrew. The first battle of the war ended before it began. But the galaxy had made its decision. Humanity had to be stopped. The withdrawal of the fleet did nothing to ease tensions. If anything, it confirmed what many already feared. Humanity would not submit. The galaxy had two choices: accept them as an equal power or move forward with extermination. The latter option gained momentum. The High Senate convened in secret, approving Operation Final Dawn, a full-scale assault designed to cripple Earth before it could escalate beyond control. The plan was meticulous, calculated, and absolute. Simultaneous strikes against human infrastructure, orbital bombardments, and disruption of their supply chains. A swift, overwhelming show of force meant to eradicate the threat before retaliation could even begin. The fleets were deployed. And then, everything fell apart. Humanity had not been idle. They had been watching, they had been listening. And more importantly, they had been preparing. As the first wave of ships entered the Sol system, the trap was already in place. Stealth satellites, hacked relay stations, hijacked AI logistics. Earth knew the enemy's every move before they even made it. The first ships were disabled before they could fire a shot, caught in gravitational anomalies created by human-engineered distortions. The second wave fared worse. They were expecting orbital bombardments, not counter-invasions, but humans had already anticipated this strategy. Within hours of engagement, covert human strike teams landed on enemy command vessels, taking control of the very fleets sent to destroy them. The Galactic Coalition watched in stunned horror as their own forces were turned against them. The war had barely begun, and humanity had already rewritten its rules. This wasn't a battle for survival. It was a lesson in dominance. The aftermath sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The fleets meant to destroy Earth were either captured, repelled, or outright annihilated. The Coalition's grand strategy had unraveled before it even had a chance to begin. But humanity didn't retaliate with mass destruction. They didn't demand surrender. They did something far worse. They negotiated. With their enemies' own fleets held hostage, they forced every major power into a series of treaties. Not through diplomacy, not through political maneuvering, but through the raw leverage of absolute victory. Galactic laws were rewritten. Earth was no longer a rogue civilization to be contained. It was now an acknowledged superpower, its Deathworld classification not a mark of exile, but a badge of supremacy. Human ambassadors walked into Senate halls not as equals, but as the unquestioned rulers of fear itself. Some empires tried to resist, whispering of vengeance, of rebuilding their strength for another war. But the lesson had already been learned. Humanity did not lose. The galaxy didn't just fear Earth. It obeyed.